thought you were coming to a conference, but you came to school today. Our panelists have definitely schooled us and given us lessons and action steps. I am so grateful to every single speaker, and I am inspired as well, because we all need a little bit of inspiration here and there. To end this program with me, I would like to bring up the next speaker that is evident that I stand on the shoulders of social justice giants. And I do not take it for granted that I get to live the dream of leading an organization like EPI because of the vision, tenacity, and fight of two women. I am eternally grateful and humbled to have been chosen to carry out the legacy of Lena Katz and the late Nancy Kurtz, to a woman who has been described as having ruthless compassion, helping to welcome my mentor, my friend, EPI co-founder, Linda Katz.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Rick. So, thank you for inviting me to make a few remarks. I have to say I'm really moved to be up here. What an amazing conference. So many incredible speakers, so much energy and power surging through the room. Can you all feel the power? And everyone is here because they're committed to economic justice for all Rhode Islanders, and that's a really big goal, and certainly one putting all of our energy and hearts into. Everybody spoke about their passion. My passion, along with Nancy Ward's, in starting the Poverty Institute about 20 years ago. We were called the Poverty Institute. Our passion was around welfare reform. And we were moved by Parents for Progress, which was then a grassroots organization of women who organized and advocated for a better cash assistance program, then called AFDC, now called Rhode Island Works. And the program, they were advocating for better support for themselves and their children. And Nancy and I understood and were appalled by the racism and sexism that undergirded the paucity of the program, that suffered from the Republican-promoted stereotypes of the welfare queen, and that allowed the Democratic House, Senate, and President in 1996 to, in quotes, end welfare as we know it. But ending welfare as we know it was not by enacting an adequate income, access to job training and higher education, quality child care and health insurance, but instead by requiring work in dead-end jobs, time limits on benefits, making immigrants ineligible for coverage, and other restrictive rules. And federal funds to support the program, again, for young children and their parents, were capped through a block grant. I won't go into the long history of advocacy around Rhode Island's cash assistance program, but there will be a tutorial after this session if you want to join it. So from FIP, the Family Independence Program, which Parents for Progress and a coalition of community providers and advocates enacted, and was hailed as a model program to support moms and their kids, to FIP's demise and replacement by Rhode Island Works. And you saw Alan's slide that showed about the disinvestment in the Rhode Island Works program, that the state's investment of our own tax dollars went to zero about 10 years ago. But on top of that, the share of the federal block grant, which is $96 million a year, has each year become less and less in terms of direct support for families. So you should know that EPI, along with partners, worked for a number of years to try to get a benefit increase for the program, which the benefit had not been increased in 30 years. Hard to imagine. But we didn't succeed in making a benefit increase that lifted children out of poverty. They're still living in poverty because we couldn't get as much money as was necessary to at least give a basic grant that would support children in a way that they're entitled to be supported. And also, people with green cards still can't get cash assistance for 5 years. Over the years, the Poverty Institute became the Economic Progress Institute, mostly because when we said the word poverty to legislators, their eyes would glaze over and they wouldn't listen. So we thought, well, if we talk about economic progress, that's a more positive focus, and we didn't see the shutdown from legislators. Part of me feels like we should never have changed our name from the Poverty Institute, but that's water under the bridge. So the Economic Progress Institute expanded into other areas, trying to improve the state's workforce development system to be responsive to people with disabilities, people whose first language isn't English, adults who were failed by the K-12 system. I'm sure I heard a lot of that from some of the youth today. And so they needed to go get their GED. And as you know, EPI is the preeminent organization in the state analyzing the state's tax and budget policies to ensure adequate resources to support critical priorities. And Alan's presentation was a testament to that today. I was really incredibly moved and impressed by all of the speakers today and the passion that everybody has for their own issues and their analysis of the problems and proposed solutions. I think our challenge is, while we each have our own vision and our own focus, how do we bring all of that energy, all the power in this room to get to a Rhode Island that is truly fair and just? Where are our commonalities? How do we support each other? Over the years, EPI has been committed to working in partnership and coalition with other advocacy organizations and grassroots groups. And I know that that important work will continue. And in closing, as Dr. King said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Today's conference is a wonderful jumping off point for bending that arc, and I wrote bending that arc a little more quickly, but I think we need to say much more quickly. So how do we bend that arc much more quickly? We've all waited long enough for justice. Thank you.
All right, now I want to get you all home because I know you spent this morning with us. To our amazing keynote speaker, Obenewa, Civil Moon, who had to leave, to Linda, our state leaders, our moderators, and panelists. I cannot thank you enough. Once again, I want to thank our sponsors, board members, community partners, and volunteers. You have been more than generous with your time, support, money, and partnership. As we end today, you can see your drains have been up on the drain wall. And we are a research organization, so this data we're collecting as well. But it was for us to see collectively that we get to dream together. And I can really read that because my eyes are going bad the younger I get. So I don't know if someone in the audience wants to shout out a dream you see up there that touches you. Let's shout out a couple of dreams to end with.
Universal housing.
Yes.
Universal
Paid leave.
Yes.
Universal basic income.
Universal housing.
Have a chair in the table after you open that door.
High quality of education for children regardless of wealth.
Universal health care.
Access.
Access for all.
Thriving and not just surviving.
Amen. Amen to all of that. And we'll share these with you as a part of our These are our dreams from our lips to all of our ears, because we all need to hear it to get it to action. I would now like to call to the stage and end with my incredible team. For those who are not in the room, is everyone at EPI in this room? If not, please step in. And Michelle Montgomery as well. I'm in awe, and I say this all the time, and I'm not joking when I say I get emotional, by the people I have to lead. All the things you talk about, if you're in our team, then you will understand this team, we mean business when it comes to economic justice. We've put together a team that is willing to work with every single person who cares about where we are in Rhode Island. They care very, very much. And even putting this conference together. 2 weeks ago, half of our team were in DC at the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities Conference. Last week, I was away. Yesterday, I was at the RISE conference dancing on the 360 like I didn't have a care in the world. But we knew we had a major conference today. And why is that? Because of my team. I trusted them and I knew we were going to be okay because I knew the conference we brought together was out of our love for economic justice and it was going to be just fine. I was sick this week and I didn't feel and our fiscal year ends tomorrow and we're still here. They have been patient with my nitpicking, my crazy ideas and dreams because that's the type of leader I am. And they made it come to pass. We worked together. When you dream of economic justice in Rhode Island, I want you to dream with these people in mind, and I'm going to call them up to join me on the stage. Karina Totoya, our office manager, please give her a applause. Andrew Grady, our communications director, who is so patient with me. I have a vision, I don't know how to say it, and you have to interpret what I mean. Obenewa, our newest policy analyst working on workers' justice and private justice issues. Krinsky, our director of research and fiscal policy. Weayonnoh, who you hear from here, a powerful young woman on our team. Grace, our director of operations, who allowed me to take care of you and sweep all this. Nina Harrison, our policy director. Someone needs to help Andrew take pictures because I want him up on this.
All right, now you come up.
And take his picture too. And last but not least, the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities is one of our national partners. And when I told them I was putting together my first conference, a conference of hope, one of the best reached out to me and said, I will help you with this conference. And they sent her to join us this week to make sure it happened. If you have been to a center conference of the meeting, you know. Please help me to welcome and thank Michelle Montgomery, all the way from Maryland, the Center on Budget and Policy Priority Conference and Training Manager. Thank you, Michelle. Please join us. This, you all, is our team. Hold us in your prayers, support us, partner with us, because we are in this fight together with you. And thank you our board members who are powerful. I love my board. Board members, please stand up. I know some of you can do this. And if you've been a former board member at EPI, please stand up. This is the thing, you all. To close our conference, in the words of another young person with a vision of hope, Amanda Guman, there is always a light. If only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it. My hope and dream is that we are brave and bold enough to achieve economic justice in our states. Keep on dreaming and have a great day. Thank you.